It's fine. It picks me up really well because I'm screechy.
It just looks better this way, aesthetically.
Oh. Welcome to Books We Never Read.
Except for those we have.
I'm Nicole.
I'm Jason.
And this is episode 62, where we're discussing week 3 of Iron Flame. That is chapters 30-something to the end.
To the end.
To the end.
An end that came too soon.
And I found out day before yesterday from book club member Peggy that the next installment of this series is not slated until December of 2024.
Yeah.
So we're going to have to reread it, obviously, before then, because I will not remember. Maybe we'll just rewatch these videos and that'll help.
I'm going to reread it because I want to.
So before we get started, please make sure this is the video you really intend to be watching. We talk about this covered portion of the book as if you have also already read it. So before we go any further, please get out of here if you have not read the rest of the book yet, because we're spoiling everything. We have the rest of the episodes, the previous episodes to this book, playlisted for you, as well as plenty of other books and the first book in this series. Mm-hmm. So check out our playlists for other things that we've read. Please like and subscribe and share our channel to people. And if you're participating live, feel free to talk all up in the live chat. And if you're catching this weeks or years later, please tell me all about your thoughts and feelings about your books in the comments section of the video. We love kind of diving back into these books. I love just the book club as a whole. Helps me just remember better what we've been reading. I just feel like I've never had better reading comprehension. It's great.
And this is definitely something I want to relive anyway.
Yeah.
The trauma of it all.
Yeah, so. It's crazy. What a wild ride. Keep in mind, if you don't want to view us and you just want to hear us, we are playlisted in YouTube Music as a podcast. And then if you want to take the discussion off of YouTube, you can go into Goodreads. We're a community in Goodreads called Books We Never Read.
Yep. In addition, please remember that we've decided that we're going to take off at least 2 weeks for Christmas from books. So we have no new book to announce today. We are talking about doing a live chat for All the Light We Cannot See, which we're just recommending people watch on their own time if you want to. We have watched the first episode now, so we already have some things to say, a lot of things to say. And maybe we can put out a date for that whenever things settle down a little bit more for us. But we won't be reading anything new until the new year. And we'll give you at least a week's heads up before we start the reading. Not before the first show, but before the start of the reading so that everybody can get their book. So that'll actually be in the next week or so.
So, take this time to reread a favorite or to cheat on the book club, if you will, and go rogue and read something that you've been wanting to read that we just haven't had on our list. And let us know what you've been reading.
Yep.
We want to know.
Yep. And we can take some votes on what genre to read next because we are disagreeing. It'll be fun. All right.
Win.
You want to hop into it?
Yeah, let's do it.
I don't even know where to start.
We have someone new.
Yep.
Yay!
Logan.
We got Logan. Hi. Is that who I think it is?
It is who you think it is.
Oh, goodness. Oh, Peggy's reading some Hispanic folklore.
Thank you. Very good.
That'd be great. Okay, so.
Yep. Where do you want to start?
Can we start with the end?
You want to start with the end?
What the heck, y'all?
Okay. So.
What do we do with this information?
We only just finished last night. We have not talked about this yet. And it just tickles me that we spent hours of audiobook. We listened to the audiobook. And by the end of it, I was listening on 2.15 speed. Just trying to get through it because it was so long. And that lady reads so slow. And I was still spending 2 or 3 hours of Violet and Zayden talking about like, well, will you love me if this happens? Will you love me if this happens? I'll love you no matter what. I'll love you no matter what. And then they're like, really? You want to test that? I'm a venom now. Oof, that's a big deal.
That's huge.
That's a huge deal. He did it for like the right reasons or whatever, I guess, I
mean, he kind of had to.
He had
to save Violet, otherwise
yeah.
He dies and their dragons die. I mean, I guess they could have all sacrificed themselves and just been done with it.
Yeah, right? We have that weird like epilogue from Zayden's point of view. Where, I mean, it says that she's in his bed. And we have no reason to think that part of the story is not true. So like she was clearly comfortable enough to like still go sleep in a room with him.
But that's just how she is, right? Like she loves him through everything,
Yeah.
even if she's mad at him and doesn't want to
Yeah. Well,
talk about
even
it.
if he's a psychopathic killer, right? Like
And he's not a psychopathic
Not
killer
yet.
yet. You know, but how is he going to control that power?
yeah.
And
Yeah.
will he want to?
So I think there's something that we need to talk. So like, that's just like boom. I don't know what to do with this, right? And like I don't really, I don't have a lot of talking points about that particular thing because it's so big, and it changes everything that like I don't even know where to start. But here's what I think we should be talking about. What is the deal in his relationship with the sage? What is that?
Yeah, why are they tied together?
What? So he says, I need to go. You know, he's waiting for me. That's what he
Yeah.
said.
Well, and we thought he was waiting for Violet
That's
because
what we
she's the
thought.
one that's been dreaming about it. But has she been seeing Zayden's dreams, or is the sage inserting himself into both of their
I
dreams?
think it's both, and so it could be as simple as Zayden thinks that the sage is waiting for him because of these dreams, and the sage has been communicating to him in the same way that Violet has been communicating to him. And it's not this is not the first time we've seen them talking. I think we've seen them talk once before where he said like you will turn because of love or the people you care about or something. That might have been a Violet dream. Now that I think
Well,
about it.
he told Violet she'll bring the wards down herself because of love.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. But so what is the deal there, right? Is it just that, or is there something bigger going on? And I want to hear y'all's guesses, because y'all know I love guesses, but I have some guesses. And the chat's blowing up. We're going to have to catch up in a second. But
Yeah.
I have a theory. I have a couple theories. Number one. So here's the real question. Do we know the sage?
I'm wondering. So I had this crazy thought. What did you think?
Okay, I want to hear yours first, because I've got like 5 guesses.
I had
So I
this-
can't be wrong. You know how I do,
I
right?
had this crazy thought, like as I was falling asleep. What if the sage is like her dad?
Okay, I also have that thought. Points against that thought. Why would Zayden feel like the sage was waiting for him if the sage was her father?
Right.
Like, what if? So number one, there's no when talking about Venom, there's no evidence whatsoever that they have to be previously magic wielders, right? They don't have to necessarily be dragon riders or griffin riders. In fact, the only thing that we have is that folklore from the Barrens, where it's the single brother who wasn't bonded to anything that gets this power. So why could it not be a scribe, right? Like, it absolutely could. If it's the dad, that's a huge twist. That's huge. But why, for what reason, and why the tie was Zayden?
Right.
I don't know. Second guess.
Yeah.
Zayden's dad.
Right.
What if it's Zayden's dad? Everybody saw him die, but everybody saw Jack Barlow die, and we know how that went, right? I don't know.
Right. Like they have unlocked it now, said that anyone can be alive.
Yeah. Third guess. Zayden's mom.
Right. Because she
There's-
dipped out after
yes.
he turned whatever.
We get this weird conversation about Zayden's mom, and then we almost immediately go into like the attack at that point, right? I believe they refer to the sage as a man. I'm not certain about that, but I believe they do. So I think this one's kind of like a long shot, but like it could. I don't know. You know, what if? Then I have like a further long shot guess, and that is we have now had several references to Zayden being an only child.
Yeah.
What if he's not?
What if it's a sibling?
What if it's a
Yeah.
sibling? And what if it's a sibling who was jealous of the power, right?
Yeah. Just
Similar,
like with the
similar to the
origin
Baron story.
Yeah.
And we already have some weirdness with Zayden's family where like they knew that his great uncle was bonded to Sigale, but it was really the grandfather. And so we already have some confusion about how Zayden's family works.
Yeah.
You know, and we know he's still keeping secrets because that's what he does. I don't know.
Yeah.
Let's get in the chat. Let's see what they say.
Oh my goodness. So Shelby mentioned last week that she had accidentally seen a spoiler when trying to figure out when the next book was being released.
Yeah.
And that was the spoiler that she learned was Zayden's fate.
Oh
That's
no,
terrible,
I'm so
Shelby.
sorry.
Oh man. And Peggy said she knew Nolan was mending a soul, didn't realize it was Jack's. Yeah, that was just
Yeah.
terrible. Let's see what else. I think Violet has a signet of seeing other people's thoughts.
Gotcha. Okay, so we need to have a whole conversation about guesses for Violet at this point too.
Why do you think
Yeah.
that, Peggy? So while you're answering that, Logan says Violet could not win in the book at all with Zayden, with
Yeah.
his Dane-like protectiveness to the second signet. Wild.
Yeah, so-
Then to the Venom transformation.
Yeah.
Yeah, is she an intrinsic or whatever?
Yeah. Anyway, the point, we can move on from the guesses about who the sage is, but I think at this point, the sage is not just gonna be some random person. And if the sage is some random person, then the sage's boss is not a random person, right? That's kind of where I'm at with this.
Peggy's feeling a lot of empathy for Violet. She's just taking hit after hit.
Yeah, it's been a lot in this book. But so that brings us to like several other things, right? Like while we're on the topic of Zayden, like what about Sigale? You know, in that weird epilogue, we get the conversation where like he says like she's been distant, right? I mean, like
she's cut herself off from him.
Well, because the last guy who had a dragon was a venom cut its throat, right? And going back to Jack Barlow now, who's been a venom since at least book 1, but we don't know where in book 1 he made that change. That's crazy. He survived the mountain falling on him because he was a venom. He also so Violet tells us that she should have known because he was channeling power
right
into
her. Yeah, during the match.
Yes, while they were fighting.
Oh,
so he's
gosh.
been like, was he a venom since before he came? Was he a venom like, did he become one like after he bonded the dragon?
But that also tells us that as long as Zayden stays in a place where the wards are up, he could still live as a normal person.
That might be true. And again, that brings us to the whole thing of like, okay, so the wards work, but like not all the way.
Well, that's only the one that they didn't do correctly.
No.
Adoratia.
No, because Jack Barlow was channeling in Basquiat.
That's right, but I think it said why.
Well, he said it doesn't work all the way.
Oh.
He said it mostly works, but like we're up in here now.
Gosh. Well, and maybe, you know, I mean, the series is all about like, here's our conception, let's flip it on its head, and now let's see what this new world looks like now that we understand more about it. Well, so now we understand more about it. Maybe you can draw power like the Venom. Maybe you can be a Venom and not be bad. You know, maybe we can weaponize this Venom magic against the bad Venom.
Yeah, but I think it's intrinsically bad.
I mean, because you're destroying the earth.
Yeah, it absorbs
your power.
Power. Huh. You know what's really interesting is the conversation that the sage has with Zayden, where he's saying, "Just draw upon it." Just like it's a very like Darth Vader conversation, but it's almost exactly the same as the discussion between General Sorrengail and Sloane, where she's trying to convince Sloane to draw on her power to empower the stone for good. It almost it's a mirror of the conversation between the sage and Zayden.
And if you think about it, there is no better way to bring the Venom down than from the inside, right? And now we have someone on the good side who can leech into their power and maybe use that against them.
Yeah. In the same way that I guess the Venom had someone on the inside with Jack Barlow.
Yeah.
So what is Varish Venom? That's something that we never get to talk about, but I think should be considered. Because Jack Barlow gets crushed. They get Nolan to repair him, and it seems that on some level Nolan knew that things weren't okay, right? That he wasn't just repairing the body, he was repairing the soul. They say that several times. Right. If he knew that he was a Venom, why let him out unless he thought it was somehow under control? So maybe we get some more Nolan conversation in book 3 where he says, these are the things I learned, but like it didn't quite work because honestly Jack Barlow is an idiot. Or was Varish a Venom and like turned Jack Barlow loose? That's worth considering. I'm not sure it matters. I'm not sure it changes anything. But
Peggy says Varish isn't Venom, just Psycho.
Yeah, and that seems highly likely to me. Because why would you need Jack Barlow in there if you have Varish? You know.
So did Varish know Jack was Venom?
I don't know. I mean, like, we don't know.
Who else is Venom?
Like, how would Nolan not know? But the dragon, Barlow's dragon apparently did not know. Somebody at some point says like he was able to keep it from his dragon, or like hide it. He hid it so well that like even his dragon didn't know. And his dragon was unhinged too, so like there's that. I don't know.
Yeah. Crazy. You want to talk about Andarna?
Yeah, let's do that.
Y'all. I really love her. I mean, she's like sassy and it's all, teenagery and annoying and stuff, but she knows what she's doing.
Yeah.
Every step of the way.
Yeah. Well, and through her story, we learn a lot about dragons, that they are somehow conscious, like, as eggs.
Mm-hmm. And she waited for Violet.
Yeah. And she comprehended enough. Okay, so this brings me back around. I wasn't ready to jump to it yet, but now I'm ready, where we were talking about what is Violet's second signet, the one she gets from Andarna. And I have two guesses.
Okay.
Based on context clues. Number one, distance wielder. Somebody makes a comment that there hasn't been a distance wielder in forever. That's a teleporter. That's what that is. What if Violet's need is to be in many places at once so she can just boop, 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 whatever. That'd be really cool. Maybe we don't have any distance wielders because we haven't had any purple dragons or camouflage dragons or whatever it is that she is. That's an option. Number two, truthsayer. That's my number one pick. They mention very briefly in this book that there is such a thing as a truthsayer, and it is the only thing that is more terrifying than an intrinsic.
Oof.
And so for her to be like going so hard and judging Xaden for being secretly semi-intrinsic, and then to turn out to be a truthsayer, whatever that means, that's a big deal. And we have to think that that's different than being able to see the future, because Melgren can see the future in particular cases. And some other people, I think we've mentioned, can see bits of the future. And so we don't know what a truthsayer is.
Yeah.
But what if she's that?
Yeah. So, and with Andarna, since Andarna has used her fire breath at Basgayath, whatever, then we cannot fully ward Orisha.
Yeah, that was the choice they made. They decided to go back and just... And that's why...
Because that's where they were.
Yes.
And that's all they could do.
Yeah. So the good news is it doesn't necessarily require a blood sacrifice. It might require a blood sacrifice to turn off, because they use the dragon's blood to put out
really
the fire.
sad.
It was sad. It'll be a very heartbreaking scene if they make a movie of this. But that's why the first six never turned on the Wardstone in Orisha, is because they don't have a second purple dragon back then. It's like, what's the deal there? Where'd they all go?
Well, Camo Dragon.
Camo dragon.
Nora, Varish's lackey, could sense the truth. So was she a truthsayer? She could sense if you were telling the truth or a lie.
So I don't think she's a truthsayer, because we have a couple other people who could do that. That must be some other ability, right? And so that wouldn't be truth saying. That would be like truth perceiving in my mind. So what does a truthsayer do? I don't know.
Speak things into existence. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, like,
Crazy.
not only Varish knew what that girl did, but like the people at school must have known, right? Like that was her signet. They had to have known. They know what everybody's signets are, unless you have a secret second signet, And her signet might have been classified, like it might have been incredibly powerful.
Crazy.
But
The new hatching ground would be very convenient to get that Wardstone working fully. It'll take a long time.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it took 360 years for Andarna to hatch. We've got to wait 360 more years for the next Camo Dragon.
Well, what if there isn't? What if there aren't any more?
Yeah.
So what's also cool about that is that's why Andarna was allowed to bond, was because she
she's
is the
her
head
own.
of her den.
Yeah,
Yes.
she's her own den.
Yeah. It's kind of funny in the same
Crazy.
way that the humans have quadrants and stuff. The dragons also have them based on color. But what does that mean? Can she mate and make another purple? Like I don't know the rules. Terran is not. Terran is a black dragon. I think Sigale is blue. I'm not sure about that. But they're mated, and so like maybe they make blue and black. I don't know, right? Maybe blue and black together makes purple.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know. Logan says she could speak some sort of truth and then really accommodate for it. And the amount of power it uses is proportional to how severe it is. I don't know. I really thought that we would find out what Violet's second signet was.
I mean, things were happening so hard at the end of the book. I was like, okay, we're in need, right? Like, we're going to find out. But we didn't, you know.
It was tough watching Sloane siphon out Mom's power. You know, I don't have any kind of real feelings towards Mom, but I do understand that she thinks that she did what she had to do for her kids. Yeah. I get that. And that's the parent mom guilt. You know, what was the genre we called that?
Mom trauma.
Mom trauma. Yeah. That's part of the mama trauma, right? Is that you are making sacrifices. You want your kids to have a good life. Yeah. Your kids were never going to understand it, and they will always blame you for either overprotecting them or hiding things from them or whatever. Yeah. There's no way that you can be seen as a hero for the things that you've done. And that's where she is. But that was the great way for her to go out. Yeah. You know, that her life brought that ward back up.
Well, I mean, and it goes, I mean, she is a protector in her own mind, at least. And so she has become the ultimate protector of Navarre. But also her death is important because, you know, we've talked since book 1 that we think that we're going to enter into this new era. And we are, where griffins and dragons are working together. And, you know, we come to some sort of new understanding. And now here at the end of the book, they've said, like, okay, we're going to have to give up on this big lie, right? Like, we can't do this anymore because there's dead wyvern everywhere. And so we know that they're going to tell the people of Navarre at least partially the truth, right? That these things exist.
Well, because there's no hiding it now.
There's no hiding
just dead things everywhere.
But the passing of General Sorrengail is the passing of the old world, right? And brings her children, they're now responsible, brings them into their own right as leaders. And so her death is not only symbolic and political, but it's important for that shift, you know, there.
Yeah. Yeah, and Peggy corrected me. It's not 360 years that Indarna waited. It was 650 years that Indarna waiting. And Peggy's also saying she's intrinsic, sorry.
Yeah, she might be.
Is the she their Violet?
Probably.
Yeah. And Violet, I think, would need to be...
Or maybe the girl we were talking about with the... be able to sense truth.
Oh, yeah, gotcha. Violet's second signet will need to be something that she originally thought was a crime. Yeah. Like, she needs to hold that to help her viewpoint flip a little bit. Yes. And it's already happening because everything that Xaden is everything that she thought was wrong. Right. And she still loves him. And that's helping. But and also I agree, Jodie Foster should be the mom. Deal. In the movie.
Deal.
Or the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. That'd be great.
And Logan liked the scene where the 3 kids kind of confront the mom in the forest whenever they meet with Melgren and that was a great scene.
It was.
I really liked that. And what I even like more is after they got back, you know, Xaden said, you know, the reason I keep it secret is not only so I live, and like Violet realizes at some point, like, I can't be mad at Xaden for keeping this a secret because, like, if he tells anyone, he dies, and she's right. This is, like, I understand where you're like, I don't know if I can trust him because of these abilities. But, like, you can't be mad about it because anybody finding out could kill him. And,
I think that's very unfair. Like, the you can't control.
Yeah, that's not cool.
That's your signet. So why kill somebody for it?
Well, most of it drove him mad or whatever. Yeah. Right? And so, like, I understand
it was like
that
a mercy,
liability.
But we have someone here who could handle it and not go mad.
But then he also says, you know, if anybody knew, they would immediately use me as a weapon. And she realized, like, oh, I did that. Yeah. Like, the very first thing I did after I find out that you have this power is get you to tell me what's going on the other side. Yep. And he's cool with it, but, like, that's what she did, you know?
Yeah, Brennan was real hard on his mom. Yeah. And that was, like, I understood it. It was a hard pill to swallow for me. Because, like, that mom died knowing that her son did not forgive her for her actions.
Well, tough. I mean, like, I think we all agree. let's go back to the big lie, right? Navarre puts up these wards. Okay, right. So we now know that it can only stretch a certain distance. Fine, fine. And then you can build outposts and stretch it a little more. Okay, cool. And then we find out that you need a purple dragon or whatever to make the second ward stone or to protect Peromiel because you need that many dragons. And we don't have them. Okay. Why are we lying? I
Right.
still don't understand.
Right.
Like, this is all stuff that you could explain to normal people and be like, look, you got to have these. We only got the one, so we can't. Why not just invite everybody into your wards? Like, why not just do it?
I mean, but I guess you can't support everyone. You've got to pick and choose
It
how
sounds
many
like a big
people
place.
you can hold, you
Yeah.
know. And again, the journal entries that we were getting from the original guys, I mean, they made it sound like it was just such a huge sacrifice.
It's not.
Something else happened, though.
But they just turned on their wards to full strength, according to General Sorrengail, right? Like, she thinks that what they have done, she would not have killed herself for like a weak ward, right?
But again, what was the choice? They had to choose to not ward
Yes.
Orisha.
Yes.
And not everyone can fit in Navarre.
But that's not a huge sacrifice. That's a plus. It's a +1. It's not a +2, right? It's not a big positive, but it's a positive. Warding somewhere is better than warding nowhere.
But you've left all those other people.
Yeah, I don't know.
die.
I don't feel like it's that. I don't feel like it's a sacrifice. I think
Yeah.
that's. I think it depends on the perspective. Yes. Now here I go being a Navarian general person, but I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
But like,
Shelby's-
why lie about the venom being out there? Or like the whole thing still doesn't make sense. To me.
Right. Like, why bury your head in the sand when you know that there's an enemy out there? Why not
That's just-
make it known?
yeah.
And maybe that's also to keep people from tapping into that power.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Yeah. Well, and we know that the first 6, we have Liliana's journal or whatever it is, and she says, I'm the only one who thinks that we shouldn't share this information. But everybody's against me, and like I've paid dearly for it, right? She says that. Why? Like, so why does everybody want to keep it secret? Like, what can a ward do that's negative to what Navarre is doing? So far, we know of nothing that is negative.
well,
that it does.
except that it keeps the griffins from being able to channel.
That's true. That's true.
And that is a huge negative.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, but like, why? But like, but that's a positive from the point of Navarre, right? So what you could
it's
do?
a positive, but it's a separator.
Yes, but like, if you really wanted to win the war with Peromiel, you would go and build a wardstone in secret in there, and then light it up, and then there's no more dragon channeling, and you win. Like, I guess that's a way that it's
Griffin
a weapon.
channeling.
Yeah, it's turned off. I don't know. I just don't understand that part.
If people think they're protected from an enemy, they're easily controlled. Give us tributes to work for us, and we keep griffins from you, says Peggy. Shelby says, maybe leadership figured out they had a problem when the purple dragons died off.
Yeah.
Had to cut their losses. And also, Real World tells us, says Peggy, if a place doesn't contribute to your kingdom, you don't care if they die.
Right. I understand all that.
Yeah.
I don't understand the lie.
Right. Yeah, we need Jasenia. These are archive questions.
She's great.
I really love Jasenia.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that it all worked out, that she was on Violet's side, you know.
I hope Sawyer lives.
Golly.
Boy,
And
missing a
it seems
leg.
like he will.
Yeah.
It sounds like he's going to live. I love their little budding relationship.
too.
You know, they just really seem to care for each other. And I like that Jasenia had a larger role in this book,
Yeah.
and she was very brave.
Yeah.
Very helpful.
Yeah. Logan also makes a mention that Sigale did not, or Taryn did not know. Sigale kept from Taryn the second signet thing, and like, he is not happy.
Yeah. I know. Did they break up?
It's not clear there at the end, but like, they said that they could feel, like, at one point Violet says like she has her shields up and she can feel like that hot rage on the other side. Yikes.
Yeah.
Trouble in paradise.
Yeah.
And can we talk about how Taryn is just still my favorite character?
Yeah.
When I'm an old man, I want to be Taryn.
Chuff. Chuffs and chortles. That's all. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Shelby says that she's really excited for the potential of American Sign Language or Basquiat Sign Language to be featured on TV.
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
Yeah. 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 Taryn is great. I like. He is very focused. He knows his standards and his rules.
Yeah.
Um, I really enjoy the dragon part of this, and I kind of hate the humans.
Yeah. It's really unfortunate just because of the mechanics of how Dragon Society works, I guess, that we are never going to get a full like personality overview of any dragon other than Tarn or Andarna. And we do talk to Sigale sometimes, and there are ways to get personality hints without words. But like, man, I'd really love to hear the rest of them talk.
Yeah.
You know.
Yep.
How about how about Varish's dragon showing up in the cave and like trying to kill them there, just being spiteful. And then Andarna like has to go and like make a self-defense argument to the Empyrean, and then they're like, okay, but like that's not cool, right? But like dragons don't kill each other, but Andarna has now.
Yeah.
You know, that's something.
Yeah.
I thought there that the signet was going to manifest as well.
Yeah, but you know, I mean, Andarna just breathed her first fire, so I think the signet still has some time before it's going to manifest.
With Violet's first signet, didn't she manifest it like once or twice without knowing what she was doing? Yes, when she kisses Aiden, right? Like she had this crackling of energy and all that, and she didn't really understand what was happening.
She could feel it building.
Yeah.
She didn't know what it was yet. Yeah.
I wonder if we haven't seen the signet already, like secretly.
Yeah, maybe.
Like manifesting in some small way.
We're going to have to wait a long time to figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I do also like that Kat and Violet now have some mutual respect for each other.
Especially after Zayden was like, why didn't you let her die? You throwing that girl under a bus.
Just could have killed her.
Yeah. Yeah, you know,
Yeah.
Kat is, you know, she's commonly referred to as being like one of the the most powerful Griffin rider. She's like super good with these runes and all that. I'm interested in seeing that relationship.
Can the Griffin riders do their rune work even if they can't wield power
Probably
otherwise?
not.
Okay.
I don't know, but probably not.
Okay.
You know, there's also mention of the venom of the wyvern having stones inside of them that sound like rune stones.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like somehow it's rune magic that they were using to do this. I'm not sure that means anything or matters, but that's what it sounds like.
Yeah. Yeah, I liked all the storyline of the Griffins joining the dragons, and you know, just their trek up the mountain was just horrible, and losing the rider or flyer, saving the rider. You know, I mean, that's just hard. And there's no way that the two sides can feel equals to each other for a long time.
Yeah, and we're only getting peacemaking from the human perspective. We haven't seen any real cooperation or peacemaking.
They keep it easy. You don't eat your allies.
Yeah,
and that's it.
Yeah,
that's all there is to it. And they seem to be working together just fine. It's the humans that let emotions come into it and be so complicated. Yeah, there's a whole world of magic opening up to them because they're joining forces.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why didn't Basgioth teach runes?
I don't think they taught runes because they didn't like. It's an ability to save up power. You know what I mean? And partially it's what powers the ward stones, right? You have to have the runes to do the ward stones. But there was, for some reason, they didn't want. And they
said
say
because anyone can use it.
Yeah, you can, and not like anybody, but any wielder could do it, and it's the great equalizer. That's what they say.
Yeah.
You could take
this is the problem.
Yeah, the weakest person, but make a very powerful rune, and then just stop people. You know?
In reality, that should be a plus.
Yeah.
That things can be equal.
Yeah. Well, people don't think like that.
And that's why we have a problem.
Yeah. Can we talk about Auric? Where are we going here? He's still alive.
Yeah, and he did not have a big role in this book other than getting the journal.
Yeah, he really.
So we're going to see him pop off in the next book.
In our third reading, he basically wasn't present. You know, like he just wasn't there. I have a feeling that So I have two guesses, right? I think he's going to become a major love interest, but I think he's going to be a major love interest for Kat.
She'll still get her throne.
So she'll get her throne, and it'll be like a peace deal between Navarre and Pormiel or whatever. I think that'll be a good storyline. But I think that we're going to continue this love complication with Kat because, like, what if I think that Zayden's going to go away. Right? We
Yeah.
see him leaving here at the end of the book.
No, yeah.
Um,
Well, if Sigel and Taryn broke up, then they can separate now.
I don't know. But I think he's going to disappear for a while, and we'll be concerned about him. Maybe we meet him on the battlefield like as a Venom, but then he switches and like eats the bad guy or something like that'd be really cool. But in his absence, I'm worried that Violet is going to hook up with Arik. So there's that. I don't know.
Yeah. Logan says when the Dragon Riders are all hanging with the Griffin Riders and they talk about how everyone dies and tries to kill each other at the school, and all the Griffin Riders are like, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I really appreciate the introduction of the Griffin Riders to their philosophy because Basquiat was crazy. There was no reason for it to really be that intense. That, again, is Navarre separating themselves, making themselves a hostile entity.
Yeah.
And the Griffin Riders are showing, like, it doesn't have to be like that. Just like with their harvesting is what the girl called it. What is it called when they mate their dragon? Threshing. Yeah. They're like, so we jump off, and if we land on one, then that's the griffin we ride. And they're like, oh, and then you die. And they're like, no, we just swim back to the coast and we go do another profession. Like it's no big deal.
Actually, what she says is they jump again. I think they just.
Well, I think that was me that said they jump again. Gotcha. Last time, but no, they actually said like they just go and they go do something else.
Yeah.
Because they didn't thresh.
Hey, while we're doing chat stuff, Peggy says, can Sigel turn Venonish? And I think the answer is yes. Because when we talk about Jack Barlow, in the ward chamber, there's mention that his dragon's eyes are black. Or they're the wrong color. And we can go back and reread that. But obviously the dragon wouldn't want to like die to put out the wards. That is anti-dragon. But somehow he has managed to control his dragon and to kill it. There's also mention, I think from the Sage, where he's talking to Violet and says, if you came over, you would bring your dragon with you, right? We had that that in last week's reading.
So do you think Sigel's thinking about becoming a wyvern?
I don't know. I know. So they wouldn't become wyvern. That's a different thing. But can a dragon become Venonish? And the answer, I think, is yes. Because I think we've seen that with Jack Barlow's dragon.
Hold on. Okay, wait. Somebody said something about Dane and Peggy.
Oh, no.
Out. What happened?
Yeah. Logan said, what if Dane is a romantic interest again? That could happen.
I do see... there was a moment where I was like, Dane and Violet might end up getting back together a little bit.
Yeah. You know, I've really come to respect Dane again towards the end of this book. He is, you know, I made a meme earlier this week about, like, has he made his redemption? I said, nah, I hadn't finished reading. I think he has. He was incredibly helpful in doing the Wardstone stuff. But also what got my respect for him more than anything was at the end when Violet is, like, burnt out and dying. He reaches out to try to help her and stops.
Right, because
he knows that he's not supposed to touch her. And I was like, all right, my boy respects.
Yep.
Right?
And, you know, and it's easy to come down hard on somebody for being on the wrong side.
Yeah.
And it's hard to, like, accept it when someone says, whoa, I messed up, because you always want to be like, but back in whatever year you did this, you know, we mess up.
Yeah.
And we have to learn, and at some point you have to accept, like, that's growth, and that's, you've got people who've made mistakes. Yeah. You know? Yeah. So, I mean, at some point
the chat generally disagrees with Zayden being redeemed.
With Zayden being redeemed?
No, sorry, Dane.
Dane being redeemed.
Dane being redeemed.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they don't like the idea.
I'm a severe Dane hater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Wow. Yeah.
We'll see.
But yes, spending hours in the library together, you know, Violet is starting to remember, you know, the reasons why she appreciates Dane for who he is.
I definitely think they're setting it up, whether we like it or not. They're saying, and I'm not saying that I want them to get together, right? Because I don't want that.
I don't.
But I do want him to be somebody's going to die, and I would like them to die at peace. And so I want them, I want them to get this out of the way.
I really appreciated that when Dane asked her, you know, do you love Zayden? And she says yes. He says, then I will trust him like you do.
Yeah.
Like that was enough, you know. And maybe they will just be the Harry and Hermione.
Yeah.
They will be the sibling-like best friends.
Yeah.
That can work together. They understand each other. They can like almost read each other's minds. You know. Yeah. Just because they're so intuitive with each other. Yeah. And that could be a really strong bond. She would have that bond plus the bond she has with Zayden, where literally they're in each other's thoughts.
Right.
That's powerful stuff on the battlefield.
Yeah. So Shelby says, who's going to replace General Sorengale? And that's also an interesting question. And so, number one, I think Melgren's kind of a stick in the mud. I don't think he's psyched about any of this. And he blames them for being there, saving Basgiath,
For him
not being able to see it. And just like, sir, please calm down. Right?
I mean, his signet is useless.
Yeah. I mean, it's okay. But also, like, you made the thing that counters your signet, so that's your problem. Anyway, the point being is, let's assume that Melgren is like now cool with the whole thing or whatever, and they're kind of like making this deal about the independence of Tyrrendor and all that, right? Like we kind of see them talking about, or he's offered that before, right? Y'all can be an independent thing, and we're gonna leave you alone. Mm-hmm. That's cool, whatever. Who cares what Melgren thinks? There's still a king out there. What does the king think? Right. And maybe this is where we see Auric come into his own, because somehow now that the wards only reach Basgiath, I think we have to leave Eurasia again. I think they have to pick up all the Tyrrendorese people.
But what about the dragons that are
I don't
nested?
know. I guess they have to bring those too. I don't know.
I don't think you can move them.
They did already to get to Eurasia. I don't know. But I think it's going to rely on Auric, who is now a rider and a royal and a Navarian prince and a Tyrrendor separatist. He is all things. And it's going to be his responsibility to find a way for them to, because they have to come back together into some sort of military. I don't think we're going to split back up after saving Basgiath. I think we're embedded now. I don't know.
Atos will get promoted.
Ugh. The dad? No, don't do that. I'm fine with Dane. I'm not fine with his dad. Maybe his dad is the love interest. Mm-hmm. I'm just kidding. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of questions. But so when you were saying, like, you know, kind of where do we go from here? Okay, I don't think they can move the dragon eggs.
Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know.
I don't think they can.
I think they said before. No, they did, because they said they moved their clutch.
Did they?
I'm pretty sure they said that.
Okay.
I don't know.
I was going to say, so what do we do when we have two
fine.
realms of dragons?
Fine. Navarre's warded all dragons move to Eurasia to protect that because it's unprotected, and then we just go from there. I don't know. At this point, you kind of have to go on the offense. If they can make 1,000 wyvern, like, how long does it take to do that? Don't give them time. You know, if you just dropped a huge army, we need to go back and hit them fast. And maybe that's what we do, you know. You know, my idea about maybe we set up a ward stone so that the Griffin Riders can't channel, like using it offensively. If we can get another purple dragon and get it to adolescence or whatever so that it can breathe fire, let's go build a ward stone in the Barrens and turn it on.
Yeah, but how do we get another purple dragon?
I don't know.
And Darna. I don't want...
But it's like, it's the nuke. Yeah. It's a magical nuke.
We don't need adolescent shenanigans. Is the king a rider too?
No, the king is not a rider. He's just a dude.
What's the point of the king when dragons are really running things? I don't understand the whole human side of this.
Yeah, I don't... The whole... So whenever they do that conversation in the woods where they're trying to ally or whatever and they all say no, Taryn says about General Sorengale, well, it's very presumptuous of her to talk about, to speak for Dragonkind.
Yeah.
But then immediately after that, the brother, what's his name? Brennan says, no, we won't come join you. Y'all can go die on your own. But that's also speaking for Dragon.
For the dragon, yeah.
And nobody said anything about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Peggy says they gotta carve a stone. They don't sell them at Target.
Yeah. Well, and then you gotta like fly the stone over there. There's logistical issues. I understand.
Yeah.
What if you made a tiny one?
Gosh. You know, but there's again in this book we saw that there is so much magic that the Basgiath students did not know about.
Yeah.
So surely in the next book, as they're having to like expand their locations and get more creative, we're going to find that there's even more magic in these other realms that they just didn't realize. And that they're going to have to learn how to tackle. And when you can open yourself up to all the forms, then maybe that's...
Yeah, like a gray Jedi sort of situation. Where you're both light side and dark side. You know, if you can make a wyvern with earth magic and doing like a rune rock or whatever, Could we do that with other kinds of magic? Could you make a wyvern? Like, could you do that? Like, why not just supplement our army? Let's fly in with a bunch of dragons and a bunch of riders who are controlling a bunch of wyvern, but they're made with our magic and not Earth magic. Like, why not? Is there something inherently evil about wyvern, or can it only be done with magic pulled from the Earth? Like, why? I don't see why not.
I don't know. Yeah, we still have the purple dragon problem, and I think that having the purple dragon problem is what's going to make everyone realize. I mean, they figured out you could make a ward with this method. It can't be the only method. Yeah. Maybe now Xaden can use his earth magic to make a new type of ward.
Maybe. But Peggy says, like, isn't it a finite supply? And the answer is yes. For the earth magic, it is, right? Something has life and you absorb the life. For the sky magic, which the griffins and the dragons use, it does seem to be infinite.
Yeah. But he'll be able to, he's the hybrid. He'll be able to do all kinds of stuff. And control when and how he uses it, you know. I don't know. What if the Venom and the Wyvern end up being the good guys? They were just out here living their life.
They're not. They're attacking.
Well, I mean, you know, it's like how...
Navarre was leaving them alone.
You know, a little parasite and whatnot. Well, because they're running out of... They're just trying to live.
Yeah, but they're running out of...
It's not good or bad. They're just existing.
I mean, I made this joke before. If we make a spaceship and we just leave the planet and wait for the Venom to suck up all the magic on the planet, they will naturally die out, and then we can all come back.
Yeah, sounds good. The heart's in the way, and I can't read that comment. It's kind of nice to see the Dragon Riders get taken down a peg from the magic side, because they're pretty cocky and got kind of annoying after a bit.
Yeah.
You know, okay, so we had gotten that nice bit of, like, them working with the infantry and stuff, and then we just never saw it again.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, we just saw them, like, dying on the battlefield at the end. Peggy says nothing, or no, Shelby says nothing with red bloodshot eyes is good. It's true. It's
just allergies. That's it. It's just allergies.
Yeah, I'm doing a throwback to children time. That's right. Anyway, is there anything else that we want to talk about before we start to wrap this up?
Time.
I mean, look, all told, it was fantastic.
We're gonna have to do a part 2. We're gonna be sleep on it and we're gonna have to do a recap before the next book. Oh man.
I didn't have high hopes for the first book, and it blew my mind. I loved this second book. You know, I just really knocked it out of the park. Can't wait for the next one.
It's been the way she writes these books, it's just nonstop excitement. Every single chapter. Yeah.
You start to, like, come down from the last thing, and then it's like, bam! Or, like, even when they're climbing up the hill, you're like, oh my god, somebody fell off, and then wyvern. Yeah. Like, oh, okay. So.
Crazy. I really look forward to seeing this on TV. Do we have any kind of...
We know that Amazon bought the rights to this.
Oh, do we?
I made a meme about it.
Did you? I might not have seen that one. No. I'm sorry.
What is the rank on Amazon and Goodreads? So on Goodreads, I'm not sure what it is ranked technically, but it has less than 1% of 1-star reviews.
Oh, is that this one?
That's this one.
And you're like, there's no way it's that good.
It's the first book, right? Yeah. And so that's why I chose that first book. Yeah. Was I was like, this many people thinking it's 5 stars is wrong.
It's really good. It's really good. Like, it's just so entertaining.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I feel like it was written with science, right? Like, I feel like somebody, you know how they have, like, the thing where it's, like, the perfect measurement or whatever? I can't remember what that thing's called. But I want to call it Avogadro's number, but that's not right. No. Anyway, but, like, I feel like that's what was done with this book, right? Was making sure that it hits all correctly. So. Yeah, there's definitely going to be a show.
Yeah.
I mean, so the meme was a couple weeks ago. It wasn't really a meme, but it was a short where I put a little funny face on there, and it said Amazon had bought the rights to it.
I really didn't see that.
It's ages ago.
Golly.
I mean, like, it was probably while we read the first book.
So sorry.
It doesn't matter. Golden ratio.
Thank you.
Yeah. Avogadro. It's all the same. All right. Well, I don't think I have anything else to say. I'm going to have to keep processing. I'm sure I'll have more to say over the next couple weeks. I hope everybody has a wonderful holiday season. And we will figure out what we're going to read next. If you have a vote for our genre of
Yeah.
choice, why don't you go ahead and leave it in the comments of this video just so we can find it easily? Or we could put up a poll.
Yeah, we could put up a poll
Can we
if
do
y'all
that?
will see it.
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah. You can say it here. We can do a poll and we can kind of push them all together so you can vote more
Yeah,
than one
that'd
time.
be cool. Yeah.
Make your vote count in multiple places. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll do that. But we appreciate everybody reading this book with us. We had an absolute blast. If you are finishing up and didn't get to catch the thing, we'd love to hear what you have to say in the comments.
Yeah, so sorry, one more thing. Logan just mentioned usually book 2 is the slump in a
Yeah,
trilogy,
and it wasn't.
and I was, but this isn't a trilogy.
We also think it's 4 books.
I thought it was 5.
Oh, really?
I don't
Okay.
know, and so I keep waiting for the slump, but I have a feeling this girl is so good.
Yeah.
This woman, this author is so good. She's gonna keep us slump free.
Yeah. Logan, you have to vote. Now that you've been here once, you aren't getting out of this ever again.
Yeah, we'll do a poll.
Yeah.
We'll get that up for you. All right.
Cool.
Well, thank you guys so much for joining us. I think I might be wrong. I might have lied on the 5 thing. But anyways, thank you for joining us. We will, like we said, announce the next book while you still have time to get the book and read the book and everything. We'll try to give you plenty of time.
Yep.
So we will see you soon.
Cool.
And happy reading on your own. Let us know.
Yep.
And that's
I'm
it.
just still so hyped. I could keep talking about this all day, but we got things to do.
Yeah.
So, all right. We'll see you guys in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
See you
Happy
next time.
holidays.